What's happening to everyone? Welcome back to Z. In this video, we address a subject I frequently get asked: which city should I go to? It's similar to the last one we did on the United States. I frequently get this question back and forth. Today's video is my opinion based on what I've learned over the last year or so while making these videos, so if you're looking for some hardcore stat videos, this isn't it. Today, I'll be citing various stats to support why I think this is a good option for anyone who wants to move there. I'll also tell you who I think should move there. However, keep in mind that every state, every city, and that's how the world works typically. If a place has a lot of those things, it will be affordable. If it doesn't, it will be expensive. Since today's introduction is shorter than usual, let's simply have a look. Number 10, Grand Rapids, Michigan. When the state won. Grand Rapids is a city that has experienced some difficult times, but things are improving there, and right now it's a really good place to live if you don't mind the cold. It's far enough away from Detroit so that they don't get much of that Detroit stank on them. They're also not too far from Lake Michigan, which is always fun, especially in the summer. Sure, there are things you can do there in the winter, but summers in Michigan are really good as Grand Rapids has a livability score of 6.8 out of 10 with a typical age of 35. It features a thriving craft brewing sector, plenty of recreational activities, and a burgeoning tech community. Number 9, Spartanburg, South Carolina. I honestly don't believe we've ever discussed Spartanburg on this channel, which surprises me considering that many people, including US News, rank it as the finest location to live in South Carolina. The first North American BMW plant is located in Spartanburg, which has a good mix of older and younger residents. In recent years, it appears that many more young people are moving here, which is likely due to the availability of jobs. I don't think this one is particularly significant, but for many people, it's one of the first things they search for when looking for a place to live. The average commute time for workers is still under 20 minutes, and although the actual city of Spartanburg only has about 38,000 residents, the entire metro area has about 327,000. The median rent is usually around $800 per month, but in reality, you should be looking closer to $900. The median home price is $156,000, but in reality, you should be looking around $220 to $260 to get something decent. It's beneficial for everyone, especially if you want to buy a starter home and perhaps start a family. Many people who came from New York to Florida and then decided they didn't like Florida will relocate to communities like Spartanburg, where they have young people moving in. Number 8, Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville is different from the rest of Alabama in that it has a reputation for being a little backwards and other things of that nature, but that reputation dates back many years and comes from people who don't know much about Alabama and don't realize that Huntsville was one of the first tech cities in the country and had a close relationship with NASA. It also played a significant role in the space race. It frequently ranks among the metro areas in the US with the fastest growth. Despite claims to the contrary, the median property price in this area is actually between $250 and $350. You'll get a decent deal at the median rent price of $850, but in reality, you should expect to pay around $950. The finest and cheapest places to live in Alabama are both in Huntsville, which is also the number 18 ranked safest place to live in Alabama. So who should relocate here? I'd say computer professionals and retirees. It's not a horrible spot for retirees to move to, considering that it is good weather for most of the year, a really inexpensive cost of living and housing, and a 7 out of 10 quality of life rating. Number 7, Boise, Idaho. If you like the outdoors, Boise is your paradise. There are rivers, mountains, canyons, deserts, lakes, everything both summer and winter here. It only takes a 20-minute ride to get to the mountains, though it's close. Downtown Boise is booming. There is new construction everywhere. A lot of restaurants here like to brag that their food is locally sourced rather than coming from other states. As far as large cities go, Boise is ranked as the 7th safest place to live in the country. Their average commute time is 14 minutes, which is good. The city only has 235,000 residents, and the entire metro area has only about 750,000, so it's not overly crowded. They have plenty of room to grow as well. Normally, you'd find that kind of bragging in Portland or Seattle or something similar. The average price in Boise is about $220,000, and the median rent is $1,000, or $958 to be precise. But if you look around on Zillow, you'll learn that the average price is really going to be closer to about $350,000, with nicer properties starting above $400,000, and this another place they go up way up. You can get a place right now for $3 million that has 4 bedrooms and 4 acres, and I'm looking at it. The quality of life in Boise is 7.3 out of 10, making it a good spot for anyone to relocate. The median age is 36, which isn't excessively high, and it's just one of the many cities in Idaho where people have been moving for a long time. The 6th, Fayetteville, Arkansas. You heard me right, I said Arkansas, but Fayetteville and that area up there, Bentonville, Rogers, and Springdale, are not like the rest of Arkansas. As I've mentioned numerous times on this channel, this area has grown significantly over the past 10 years. It is the home of the University of Arkansas, the birthplace of Walmart, and one of the places in the nation where college football is very important to the entire city. Number 5, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Here's another city we barely ever discuss, Green Bay. In fact, the majority of Americans never bring up Green Bay unless they're discussing the Packers. As I previously stated, the people of Green Bay are even more crazier about the Packers than those who live in Fayetteville. I once read that season tickets are not available. Green Bay is a great place for retirees who don't mind the cold and families who are just starting out because it's a great place to raise a family and it's very affordable. However, there is like this waiting list and many families actually leave them to other family members in their will. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but it was very common a few years ago. Green Bay's metro region has over 320,000 people living in it. However, the city itself only has roughly 108,000. You could find nice, livable homes here for $160,000 or $170,000. There are plenty of them. I also find this to be a little funny in most cities across the country if they have some kind of football stadium. Normally, if you ask me what the median price of a house is, I'll tell you that it's like $200,000, but realistically, you want a house that's probably around $250,000 or $350,000. This one is $181,000. Asheville, North Carolina, is ranked 4. The Blue Ridge Mountains are right there, serving as the city's backdrop. A lot of the younger people have, for lack of a better term, that hippie thing going on, similar to what San Francisco had in the 1960s and what Portland had in the late 1980s. Asheville is one of those places that has really gained popularity in the last 10 years or so. Many young people are moving here. It has a great beer scene, great music scene, and lots of outdoor activities. Asheville is actually known as Beer City, and it has also been called Paris of the South, but I think those names are a little exaggerated for this location. The city itself has a population of only 94,000, and the metro area as a whole has about 469,000, ranking it as the 120th largest in the country. Asheville is a great place to live for both young people and older people. The median home price here is $278,000, and the median rent is $900, but those are really off rents probably going to be about $1,300 a MO. Despite having a youth movement, the median age is still pretty high here at 44.2. Remember, some of the other ones here were 35, so that's a bit older. Number 3, Colorado Springs. If you don't know about Colorado Springs, it is a fantastic place to live. It is regarded as one of the greatest cities in the country to raise a family. If you don't know where it is sort of in the middle there on Interstate 25 between Pueblo, Colorado, and Denver. Colorado Springs has really low crime, good schools, their cost of living and their housing is a little expensive, but you know you pay for what you get if you're from Southern California or California in general. You just call it by the number. Everywhere else in the country you use the I-70 or Interstate 70, something like that. This strange Southern California thing. Like I said, it's expensive, but it has a lot of other nice things about it. Colorado Springs is another place that truly has that small town feel, even though it's a good-sized city. When I say good-sized city, it has a lot of tech jobs as well as a lot of jobs in general and its natural beauty, which is why I put it here at this point in the list. The population of the city itself is around 480,000, whereas that of the surrounding metro area is only around 755,000. The typical travel time for people in this area is 16 minutes, according to some government organization that tracks transportation. However, I think that estimate is a little off. In most situations, I would argue that commute times are closer to 30 minutes. The median age in Colorado Springs is 34. This is a young city, so the median home price is $455,000. Rent is around $1,200, but realistically, a two-bedroom apartment will cost you about $1,600 a month. If you want to buy a place, you can find all kinds of condos here that range in price from $275,000 to $350,000. I mean, the neighborhood is nice, but homes will start at around $500,000 if you want. Number 2, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. In the past, stopping in Lancaster was really only an option if you were traveling from Philadelphia to Harrisburg. However, Lancaster is a lovely little town or city, depending on what you want to call it, and it is surrounded by farmland. Lancaster was founded in 1729, became a borough in 1742, and was officially incorporated as a city in 1818. The city's downtown is stunning. It's a beautiful area of the country, and besides Bird in the Hand and Intercourse, Pennsylvania, there are a variety of other just great small towns to visit on the weekends. Lancaster has 59,000 residents, and the entire metro area has about 507,000. Commuting times are under 12 minutes, and it's reasonably priced. You can find cheaper places, but they won't be in the best neighborhoods, and you will probably have to do some work there. I do see duplexes and stuff for as low as $170,000, but realistically you're looking at about $1,200 for rent, maybe a little bit less, and to get a decent home you're going to be looking at least $320,000, $425,000. Number 1, Portland, Maine. If you want to live in a city with almost no crime, I mean compared to other American cities of the same size, they have the lowest crime rates in the country, I mean that entire region. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Portland, for a city of its size, has incredibly low crime, and its residents are decent. You simply have to put up with the harsh winters in New England, but they do have employment and there isn't a lot of extreme poverty, and the city has good schools. Those who are retired and families will love being here. The median home price in Portland is $310,000 and the median rent is $1,100. But if you look on Zillow, you'll learn that if you want to buy a decent house here, it will cost you between $350,000 and roughly $425,000. It definitely rises significantly from there. Portland is a lovely city with lots of greenery and activities, even if it may get very chilly and rainy there. The residents there adore it. Before we wrap up, here are a few cities that you might think should have made the list, but didn't. Austin, Texas, which is a highly popular city. Portland, Maine, which is one of the happiest states in the nation. Its quality of life score is 7.8 and is almost at the 8.0 mark. It's just starting to become less worthwhile since it's getting a little too crowded and a little more pricey. Bend to Oregon is another that has gained a lot of popularity recently, particularly with the youth migration there, but they are beginning to notice a little homeless population issue. And in my opinion, it will only get worse in the years to come. Alright everyone, that's the list for today. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. Now go out, be kind to one another, and don't forget to like and subscribe.